Now let us talk about the psychomotor domain. The psychomotor is related to the motor skills. It is often related to the physical movement and activities. The relevant learning include development of organized pattern in order to carry out certain tasks. The examples of the motor skills include driving a car, playing badminton, typing words, operating a device, and so on and so forth. There are various levels of psychomotor from level 1 to level 7. Level 1 will be the most basic level, while level 7 it will be the highest level. It reflects the ability of the students to carry out a task using the relevant motor skills. Let us look into the definitions one by one. Level 1 is the perceptions. It is the ability to use observed cue to guide physical activities. To make it simple, if a student has the ability to detect, describe, or distinguish the physical activities, this will be considered under the perceptions, that the students notice the relevant activities. Now the second level here, it will be the set. This may also involve the mindset. This is referring to the readiness of a student to take a particular course of action. Now this readiness here, it can be from various aspects, which can involve mental, physical, and emotional readiness in order to carry out a task using the relevant set of skills. Now this level is not only about the observations or perceptions. It is about the readiness of the students to carry out the action. Now how do we know that the student is ready? If the student shows willingness, if the students start moving, or if the students has the ability to explain how the relevant skills are carried out, that means they can be considered under level 2 of psychomotor domain. The third level, it will be the guided response. This is the early stage of learning a complex skill. There will be try and error attempts, a lot of practice in order to acquire a physical skill. Through the practice, better performance will be acquired. Now the skills that the students are learning are guided. That means at this stage here, the students is mimicking or reproducing certain physical activities. As long as they has the ability to follow, the level 3 is considered achieved. The next level, it will be mechanism. This will be the intermediate stage in the learning of a physical skill. Now the learned response become more habitual and movements can be performed with some confidence and levels of proficiency. The main difference between the 3 and 4, it will be the levels of confidence and proficiency. As long as the students can copy and reproduce certain guided response, this will be considered level 3. Now without any guidance, students may carry out that response by themselves. This will be considered the level 4. Next we look at the level 5, which is the complex overt response. This is when the physical activities involving complex movement patterns are possible. The response are automatic and proficiency is achieved. Now how do we determine the proficiency? We will look into the speeds, coordinations, precisions, and etc. There is a definitions in terms of the proficiency here. The students will need to demonstrate accurate and highly coordinated performance with a minimum wasted effort. To make it simple, level 5 here refers to a mastery to a guided physical activity that over sufficient hours of practices, high levels of efficiency is achieved, and there will be very minimum wasted effort. And normally level 5 here is referring to the complex movement patterns, which cannot easily be copied in the first glance. Now if you want to differentiate level 4 and level 5, it will be by the levels of the proficiency. If the student is able to make it highly effective, then that will be level 5. If not, once a while there are some errors. From time to time there are wasted effort. There are inconsistency in terms of the performance. This will still be in the level 4. Now if you look at the definitions of the psychomotor, the highest level that a guided physical activity can be achieved by a student, it will be level 5. Now when come to the level 6, there will be inputs from the students. This is when the skills are well developed and the students have the ability to modify the movement in order to deal with the problem situations or to fit the special requirements. This will be the adaptations. Let's say now the students has mastered a guided skill to 100% of efficiency. It is still at the level 5. Most likely, that particular patterns of movement, the highest efficiency that can achieve, it will be to the state. Now, if a student would like to break through this to make it much more efficient, now the students will have to modify the movements in order to generate better output in terms of the quality and the quantities. Of course, the modifications, it will be on basis of the original guided activities. It is more like fine-tuning the movements to make it better or to overcome some limitations. Now level 7 here, it will be the originations. This is referring to the skills which is highly developed out of the creativity for special situations. It is not just modifying certain movements. It may involve developing something from head to tail. Now we know about the definitions of different levels for the psychomotor domain. Let us look at some terminology that you can use as the instructions in stimulating the students or guiding the students to perform certain skills to the appropriate levels of psychomotor domains. We have 7 levels of psychomotor domain. We can call them as P1 to P7. P1 is the perceptions. The relevant terminology used include detect, hear, listen, observe, perceive, recognize, see, sense, smell, taste, view, and also watch. If you look at the terminology here, they are all related to the perceptions of a person. Now the P2 here, it will be referring to the set. We are referring to the mentally, emotionally, and physically ready to act. These are among the words reflecting these levels of psychomotor domain. Achieve a posture, assume a body stance, establish a body positions, place hands, arms, etc., positions the body, sit, stand stations, and others. As long as it demonstrates the readiness to act, it will be considered as P2. Now P3, it will be the guided response. This is related to the imitate and practice skill. As long as the students can copy, duplicate, imitate, manipulate with guidance, operate under supervisions, practice, repeat, try, it will be considered under the guided response. The students do not need to carry out this alone, and very often under the guidance, demonstrations, and supervisions. The next level, it will be the mechanism. This is where the students perform acts with increasing efficiency, confidence, and proficiency. This will be the intermediate level of carrying out a guided response. This includes complete with confidence, conduct, demonstrate, execute, improve efficiency, increase speed, make, pace, produce, and show dexterity. The main difference between P4 and P3, it will be the slightly higher efficiency, confidence, and proficiency level. The students do not need to be perfect at this level. There could be issues with the accuracy, effectiveness, and consistency. As long as the students can complete the relevant tasks, it is considered achieved. Higher up, it will be level 5 here, which is complete overt response. The keyword here, it will be automatic. That it has already become a habitual movement, highly effective, very proficient. Or to make it simple, if the students can autopilot the entire process without much thinking, and it is already highly efficient, no redundant movements, now this is considered as P5. The relevant actions include act habitually, advance with assurance, control, direct, excel, guide, maintain efficiency, manage, master, organize, perfect, perform automatically, and proceed. You can see the difference in terms of the terminology listed here. The requirement here is slightly higher. We are talking about high level of mastery at P5. And then next, it will be the P6, where students need to adapt the skill set to meet a problem situations. Now, if you are talking about under normal circumstances and also under the guided response, the maximum that the students can go without incorporating new things, that will be level 5. Even though the student achieve 100% efficiency, it is still level 5. The relevant skill they learn from somebody else. What the students is doing is actually mimicking and reproducing the entire process at extremely high levels of efficiency. There is no inputs from the students. It is only the methods of the level of mastery. When it comes to P6 here, there will be inputs from the students. Students may need to modify certain parts of the skill in order to meet certain problem situations. And often, these skill sets are custom designed for a certain situations where there are limitations of the existing guided response. Even though you manage to achieve 100% efficiency of that particular guided response, there were still limitations in terms of the output. Now, in order to overcome this, the students will have to demonstrate their levels of innovations, modify certain skills, maybe partially out of the entire process in order to meet these situations. This will involve adapts, reorganize, alter, revise, and changes. The highest level, it will be the organizations. This is where the students create new patterns for a specific situation. Again, similar to P6 here, it is custom-made for certain specific situation, which there are limitations of the original guided response. Even though you reach to 100% of the efficiency, there are still limitations that cannot be overcome, or probably the guided response is totally not workable under these circumstances here. Now the students will have to come out with something new specifically to resolve these situations. The relevant terminologies include design, originate, combine, compose, and constructs.